All right. Well, I guess we're doing this. The It's happening. I don't know why I'm so against this on principle, but I have been for ages. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too attached to Wicked the musical, it being my favorite musical of all time. And so I don't know. I don't know if I've seen a stage musical and then seen it on screen and ever. Um, I saw the Little Shop of Horrors film before I saw it on stage because I saw it to like prepare for the stage show. And to fair, I don't actually know if I've ever actually. I think I've seen Little Shop of Horrors once on stage, possibly. Yeah, I have. Because the first time I saw Little Shop of Horrors on stage, I was in it. I was the plant, not singing. I was puppeteering it, but that still counts. So, you know, um, where was I going with this? Also, so the third Deadpool film is called Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm just distracted by that. I got a toast notification on my screen now that distracted me. No, so I know I'm very attached to Wicked, and some part of me, I love Wicked so much. I've seen Wicked 3 times on stage, 4, West End, Leeds, Bradford. Yeah, I've seen it 3 times, which for me is unusual. I don't go and see like films more than once in theaters, but I guess a musical is different. And I imagine the cast would be different. Although, to be fair, they replicate it very. I don't think you'd tell. Well, at least I can't tell. Um, so some part of me is like, I don't want to see Wicked on screen, but I like the Little Horrors film version, and I like it. And in fact, if any, arguably for the time, I preferred the film version. And the film version of Little Shop of Horrors is kind of its own thing. Like it deviates from the stage play in several places. Um, it does a slightly different direction as well than the stage play typically does, although the direction it plays is obviously down to whoever's directing it. So maybe this can be its own thing. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that's fine. Is it fine? I don't know. I just for a long time the fact that this was stuck in development hell, I was like fine with. I was like, I don't want to see Wicked on screen. I'm fine with it being this experience that you kind of. There's something unique about musicals on stage that you just can't replicate any other way. And I don't know. And so this, and it was like, oh, let's make Wicked into like a film. I'm like, and then it kept getting delayed. It kept getting delayed. And I was like, good, let's never make it. But I guess it's here because there's footage of it now. So we're gonna have to react to this and see how it goes. Sorry, I'm still very ill. I don't who I am so out of touch with so out of touch with news for this. It's a 2-part musical. What? That somehow I like that less. I don't know why necessarily, but I don't like it. I don't. Also, I think my levels are maybe a bit too high. Sorry, I'm about to do a bit an annoying thing where I just want to check. Ooh, I have a lot of filters on my thing here. Hey, okay, it's not too bad. I dropped it on decimal. Um, why is this a two-parter? See, that's the issue. It's like I feel like you can't replicate the magic of musical theatre on film one for one. Some of the weirder parts of Wonka were where it felt like it was showing musical theatre. So the fact that it's going to be a 2-part film. So optimistically, that's more than 180 minutes. So that's 3 hours, which is probably more than the stage play is, right? Because you have the interval, which obviously they're not going to adapt. I don't think. That's crazy. What else? So who's the cast? So you got Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba. And what do I know her from anything? Broadway. She's done some film acting. I don't think. Oh, she was the blue fairy in Pinocchio. I kind of, not that I like, she's not a big deal. No, but I don't want to like insult her. I just assumed that her being cast as the blue fairy in Pinocchio was she was like someone with a bit more kind of like stardom value. I didn't realize she was this new to like. I mean, I guess she's got some TV clout. Ariana Grande as Glinda. Okay. I mean, I said I don't. I recognize the name. I don't actually know anything about the singer. I didn't know that she acted. What else has she been in? So a vast majority. Well, okay. So she was a lead actor in a what is this Nickelodeon show back in the 2010s. How old is she? I generally don't know anything about her, or I recognize the name. When was she active? Since 2008. She's a year older than me. Okay, so she had a few. From what I can tell, she had a few TV roles in the early 2010s, and then mostly cameos. Her being her. I mean, yeah, a whole bunch of like film roles like her as cameos. So this is like significant. Okay, Michelle Yeoh is in this, which is cool. Does she sing? Oh, I guess does she sing in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? Is not musical. Am I misremembering? Ethan Slater as Bok. I mean, he looks like a Bok. The person who it's another broader person, but SpongeBob SquarePants, I guess. Apart from Michelle Yeoh, a lot of these are not particularly like big film names. Jonathan Bailey as Fierro rather. I know the names of the characters. I'm ill. Leave me alone. Is he been in anything? See, it's concerning how many of these are like Broadway stage actors. Because, like, again, if you adapt a musical to screen, it shouldn't feel like a stage musical, because it won't. Jeff Goldblum as the wizard. That has either sold me on this or filled me with such apprehension. I am sorry. Jeff Goldblum as the wizard. I was going to ask, can Jeff Goldblum sing? But according to Wikipedia, he is a jazz musician by trade. I've never seen him do anything music wise apart from like scat as like semi improv in his roles. But Jeff Goldblum is an actor who's made a name playing a particular character, himself. And the wizard from the musical, I'm just so I can try to imagine this, and I'm like, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing Jeff Goldblum play a tragic figure. What? Like I could probably buy Jeff Goldblum playing a Wizard of Oz, but the Wizard of Oz in Wicked, I just don't. That's just not connecting for me. And then I think a whole bunch of these other characters are like just named members of the chorus. Hang on, there's a who. There's no cast for Dr. Dillamond. There's a character called Professor Nikidic, who might be a renamed Dr. Dillamond. I don't know why. Played by Michael Colin Michael Carmichael, who doesn't have a Wikipedia article. I somehow recognize the face actually now that I pulled it up. Seems far too young to be playing Dr. Dillamond. Jeff Goldblum as a wizard. What? Okay, what else is in here? Okay, that's just the plot of Wicked. So, yeah, it was 2012 when they announced the development, and I saw a musical for the first time in 2011, 12? About that time, actually, I think. Good 12 years ago. Yeah, long development, multiple delays in the COVID pandemic. I think I've been into now since 2021, so I've like purposely ignored the news because I'm like, if I don't listen to the news, it can't happen because apparently Hollywood waits for me, I guess. And then the SAG after strike, and it's going to be released in November. Original plans to release the film's production as a single film was changed due to expansions in the plot line. I guess we do have a bunch of like time jumps that work better on stage than they do in film. So I guess. But can you imagine? Can you imagine if they don't split this film in Act One, Act Two? I know I'm saying it doesn't have to be the musical, and it shouldn't be a musical. But can you imagine? Just everyone is going to be saying. I mean, don't be the musical, but if you're going to follow the musical's plot, there is an obvious like midpoint, which is that point. I guess I don't know. To be fair, if I was to critique Wicked, and because this film for making me do that, I would say it is very like Act One is very heavy on the build up, and Act Two rushes through that quite a lot. if you were like to tell this, if you're saying you're telling this alternative history story about why Elphaba is where that Elphaba is, then so yeah. According to this article, it's the most of the new songs will be added to. Have they at least? Okay, so it's the same people who wrote the musical writing the film, and Steven Schwartz is doing the music for the film, and they did the music for the play. So I guess that gives me some hope. And it's being directed by John M. Chu, um, who directed Crazy Rich Asians, which I actually enjoyed. But they also directed Justin Bieber Never Say Never. I've not seen it. Just the premise of that film is bizarre. I mean, I've seen the thing wrong with, and I feel that gives you. I mean, I don't like to judge a film I've not seen, but okay. Well, he has directed musicals, so I guess that's fine. Okay, shall we watch this trailer? Shall we check this out?
The best way to bring folks together
Something has changed within me.
is to give them a real good enemy.
You're green. I am.
Something is not the same.
Something just takes over me. And when it does, bad things happen. Once you learn to harness your emotions, the sky's the limit.
Bring her to me.
Don't be afraid. I'm not afraid. It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
I'm gonna pause in the right place. Okay, I've just spotted something in the in the description that I kind of want to read out here. Let me just also, is there anything about like casting about why we didn't go with Indina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth? I mean, I don't know if Kristen Chenoweth. Yeah, she's acted in film and television. They're both film and television actors. So yeah, they're both rumored as potential leads. I love that Cats had the original release date of this film. So they felt like if they made it into one film, they'd have to cut something, and they didn't want to cut something. So instead, they made it into 2 films. I mean, you can't just make one long film. Like, that's happened recently. Like, that's a thing you can do. You can make a 3-hour long film. It probably will be popular, but I don't think it's going to be less popular than 2.5-hour films. So they're saying it was difficult for them to like have Defying Gravity as like a midpoint and then continue, because you need that kind of curtain break and then to like start a fresh a new act, which I can kind of get behind. Okay, let's go through this. So did they shoot this back to back? I think so. That has to be the end of Wicked, towards the end of Wicked, after Dorothy throws water and Elphaba fakes her death, and all that's left is her hat. I think I'm pretty certain on the because it's a reference to the films, so her hat's left on a trapdoor. And I mean, I don't know if it's just like me knowing the way the musical goes, but I could see that being a trapdoor in like an otherwise kind of stone place. The other thing is also like, no, actually, I was gonna say like a musical you can get away. Well, here's the thing. So like when they made Legend of Horrors and it was a stage play, the main character got eaten. And they're like, well, that's fine because they do a curtain call and the actors come back and it kind of like makes things less sour. But you can't do that in film because there is no curtain call, even though you could do a curtain call through the clip credits that they did. And that's why they changed the ending to make it a bit more uplifting with them surviving. So kind of thing like here, is it not a bit anticlimactic? The way that Elsa comes back in the musical is very cheesy, but it works because it's musical theatre. And I don't know how well that translates onto screen.
The best way.
I want to say this is possibly... Well, how... I don't think there's a part in the musical that tackles the golden brick road being built. But I want to say this is portraying it here. This is perhaps one of the new bits. I want to say musical because the safety curtain that they have in front of the stage before it starts during the interval is a map of Oz. I want to say the golden brick road is on there, implying it's already there. But I mean, that's not particularly the most like canon part of the musical.
To bring folks together. The best way to bring folks together
Something has changed within me.
is to give them a real good enemy.
You're great.
So I just wanted to like listen to Jeff Goldblum's. I'm going to listen to it again. So that's Jeff Goldblum as a wizard. It's kind of giving the thesis of the musical away if you're not already familiar with it. That being, so Wicked's actually a kind of political musical, and it's very much about political power, or at least part of it is about political power controlling the narrative as a means to an end, which is what the wizard's saying here. And I can't quite remember if that's a line from the musical or not. I could check, but I don't think it's important.
The best way to bring folks together.
Something
See, it's very Goldblum. It's very Goldblum delivery. The way that he pauses, the best way to bring, and that kind of cadence is very Goldblum. And I don't know if I'd pause where he pauses. And I don't think that's where I've seen people pause on stage.
The best way to bring folks.
Trying to place this. I think there's mention of a train. It's a train, right? Is that a train or a carriage? So, I think there's a mention of a train in just before One Shot Day to take them to the city of Oz, to Emerald City rather. But I don't think this is. I don't know if this is. I hope this isn't it, because I mean, for starters, everyone's like very much like still segregated away from Elphaba here, and I think by that part of the musical they'd kind of warmed up to her because Elphaba had warmed. Sorry, not Elphaba. Glinda had warmed up to her. I don't know. There's a lot of like green. There's obviously. I mean, there's a lot of green motif here. The implication we get from the musical is that there's an absence of green until you reach like the Emerald City, and then that's where Elphaba's like, oh my god, everything here is like me. I kind of fit in here because everything is green, and that's kind of the whole color motif of the element. So if it's other parts of Oz which are green, which aren't Emerald City, it kind of detracts from that. I'm trying to place this. Like, this could be the train that takes them to Emerald City for the first time. It could be early in the film where it goes past. It could just be it could be all trains in Oz and all the transitions in Oz are like this. I can't quite tell, but clearly the students in the background are like still kind of fearful of the
Together.
And this is Shiz. That's not the full name of the school, right? That's like the nickname of the school. Oh wait, okay, it is the full name of the school, Shiz University. Somehow I thought it was a nickname. Okay, yeah. So this is Shiz. Somehow, out of context and musical, it seems more dirty to say than it is. This is Shiz University. I'm seeing the establishing shot. Probably this is the first time that we see of it. I mean, we don't see obviously the building in the musical. It does have very much a kind of, I want to say, castle-y European vibe to it. Especially with all like the white cliffs and the greenery around. I'm trying to see because usually the thing of this is usually clues in the clues in the architecture.
Something has changed.
And this is potentially Glinda when she arrives. I don't know. I don't recognize the actors enough to place people. Personally, playing the so the article said that there's a new character that is Glinda's father in the musical in the film because that's the character that doesn't appear in the musical. And that's potentially the character who we see in the boat facing Glinda. So which seems to suggest that he comes with her to Shiz at least to drop her off. Whether or not he is there when she meets Glinda is gonna be relevant because the best film, the best song, one of the best songs in the musical, "What Is This Feeling," relies on Glinda telling her father about about I should probably put my finger here. Relies on Glinda telling her father about Elphaba for the first time. But it's possible that he leaves for a hand. I can't tell if the person with the rope at the bow of the boat is meant to be Bok or Fiero or neither, but it seems very prominently in like the shot, and like I recognize him. I think I've seen recognize him. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, she has a pink motif. I mean, this is actually a pretty like good. I was gonna say wicked shot, not in the sense of it being good of what it is good, but like wicked-esque. It looks like a shot that they would do for the. They've made like trailers for the musical Wicked. Just shot very cinematography, shot on stage, but like very cinematographically. Sorry, I'm having trouble saying words because my throat is very sore. It is a very basic shot, but I think it's effective.
Is to give him a real good enemy.
You're green.
I really hope that's not the delivery that they keep in the film. I hope this is a Wonka situation where the delivery in the film is better. I don't know. The shots, the director camera shot here doesn't do it for me. This is what this kind of again is that kind of thing. That kind of thing like feels like it's trying to be a stage musical, but it's on screen. Like I don't want characters looking straight at the lens in moments like these because it's like they're on stage looking at the audience, and that works on stage. It doesn't work so much as it doesn't work the same way. It doesn't translate directly over by doing this. And I mean, it's hard to judge because these clips are taken out of context, and perhaps in the wider like perhaps this is the end of a sentence, perhaps this is like the end of a longer delivery, and it's much better in context. Just this here doesn't work. And I need to bring up the script of the musical. Naturally, the dialogue of musical is less embedded in my brain than the soundtrack is because the soundtrack is on Spotify, and I listen to it quite frequently. Whereas obviously the dialogue isn't. I do. Oops. Oops.
You're green.
And again, her delivery back. So in the musical, obviously, I seem to remember she kind of sarcastically like makes a big deal of, "Oh my god, I am! How did that happen?" Like as if like she didn't know, which is fun. It's fun. I like that. It's as someone who is part of a marginalized group, and I mean, no one's ever pointed to me going, "You're brown," because thankfully we're somewhat like aware that different skin color exists, but you know, I'm autistic, and people, and I'm mentally ill, or and several other things people point out to me if I've never realized, and I have done that kind of similar action before. Out of context, again, this is a thing where it might work better in the context of the full shot that we get to see in the film. Out of that context and just trimmed, it. If you didn't know Wicked, you could easily misinterpret this dialogue as a very poor surprise. It doesn't do it any favors. I think this trailer very much relies on you knowing Wicked. I do think that Erivo does very much suit the part here of Elphaba. I think the costume design is very much on brand. I do kind of like the color palette of like this scene here with the reds and the blues and the greens. It's very basic primary color scheme here. Well, not primary because that'd be red, blue, and yellow, I think. But you know what I mean. It's RGB. That's what it is. It's red, green, blue. But yeah, I mean, she looks good for the role. I don't actually know if they've put green contact lenses into the stage performance. I've never noticed or looked close enough. I mean, you can't really see that close enough, can you, on the stage? But they've tinted her eyes green. And obviously, they're going with the defying gravity as the kind of thematic motif of Wicked as the underlying song. I mean, it did give me slight chills, but it's hard to concentrate on that and be critical of the screen. Not sure where this is from. But obviously that's a snapping shot of Emerald City. It could be one of the new scenes, the new sections. I can't remember anything. I'm trying to remember a character rushing to the Emerald City by horseback. Possibly could be Fiero going to the city. I don't think we're gonna know. I do want to compare this shot actually to Wizard of Oz 1913 Emerald City. Because obviously, like, Wicked is the musical's adaptation of a book, which is an adaptation of the book. But when they made a musical, they take a lot of inspiration from the 1939 film. In like just the way that it looks. I think they paid royalties to use the ruby slippers, whereas obviously in the books they were silver. I think, because that's like in cultural like knowledge, it's ruby now. Apparently there is like a few chords of No One Mourns the Wicked, which is Over the Rainbow. I struggle to hear it, but apparently it's there. So I'm just looking at the establishing shots of the Emerald City from the 1939 film. In fact, I should probably try and bring it up for you. So this is what I'm looking at the moment. I'm just trying to compare the shots. So obviously in that it's kind of established with this kind of like radial aura, which I think this is trying to replicate with this rainbow. Although obviously a rainbow has got its own kind of motif in Wizards of Oz. But like famously there's like Poppy Field, they all get high and fall asleep. And I think you can see the dashes of red in the between the horse and the Emerald City. I'm moving my mouse cursor around, but it's not going to show because it's on a different window. You can see but also like you can see like there's like patches of fields, different colors, and you can see right here. So I think it's taking inspiration from that. Obviously, the Emerald City in 1939 is just like a bunch of spires, but like they're like basically they're very kind of Mario like sprouts. I should probably stop doing this motion. I think this kind of replicates that, but obviously makes it look less 1939-y. That's interesting, actually. Excuse me. Actually, I didn't remember seeing. Okay, I missed it because I got distracted by Jeff Goldblum. Marissa Bowes plays Nessa, who we can see in the shot. Marissa Bowes doesn't have a Wikipedia article. Does a Google search bring up anything? So apparently she's not been in anything. Well, it's a bit unfair. Let's check her IMDb actually. So this actually, I think, is her debut. She was in like a 2019 short film that might like just literally be, I don't know, that might be like being an independent film. IMDb's not loading on me anymore. I mean, it's just based on the fact that it's directed supposedly by someone sharing the same surname as her. I'm probably gonna say that's probably like an independent like short film kind of thing. But Nessa is a wheelchair user. That's great. It's great that we're casting wheelchair users. And she's not, she's an actor and a singer. She's been in musicals before. So it's great that they went to the trouble of finding a musical actress who is also a wheelchair user to play a wheelchair user. There is a part of the film, obviously, the musical where Nessa regains the use of her legs, and then that is off screen. But there's plenty of ways to do that. This kind of proves a point. A big counter argument to casting wheelchair users as wheelchair characters is because sometimes you need those actors to play the character as having use of their legs. Clearly, they're going to work around that here somehow, and probably very easily so. So that'll be kind of fun to see. This is obviously part of Dancing Through Life, where several things happen. So I'm assuming the person behind, sorry, I interrupted myself. The person behind Nessa is presumably Bok, played by Ethan Slater. It's too dark to see, but I don't know Ethan Slater to say yes or no to. But this is obviously through Dancing Through Life, the part where Glinda gifts Elphaba as a mocking statement the hat, and then obviously she feels bad because Madame Marble points out. I'm trying not to give away the plot. I mean, this isn't a spoiler-free thing, but like I'm not just going to tell you the plot. I'm assuming you know it. But yeah, so this is the month of Dancing Through Life, and obviously I was about to mock Elphaba for her hideous hat, even though like. I think as an audience, we'll have to assume witches' hats are hideous because in real life they're not.
Something just takes over me.
I do.
And when it does,
Can you pause, please?
things happen. Once you done bad things, then just damn.
Has my oh okay.
You're green.
I am.
Something is.
My stream deck is lagging.
Not the same.
Something just takes over me. And when it does,
Okay, well,
something just takes
I think my stream deck's frozen.
over me. And when when it
the same.
does, something just takes. Yeah.
Something is not the same.
I do like the shot. I like that the eyes are obscured.
Something just takes over.
So this is probably do we see the lessons between Madame Morrible and Elphaba in the musical? I think they mostly happen off screen. So this is probably one of the extended bits where we actually see Madame Morrible teach Elphaba how to use her magic more. Potentially, I think there's like a famous, like, I think the book has a name. The Grimmary, that's it. Yeah, so that's these might be pages from the Grimmary. But this is obviously part of the lessons. Let me see that I don't think we see in the musical.
Over me. When it does, something just takes over me.
So I think that's a line from the musical as well. I think that's when she is apologizing for flinging away the people who are trying to manhandle Nessa away from her, and she gets stressed and scared, and she causes them all to like spin around or something or another. And she kind of apologizes, and Madame Marble says, "Don't apologize for that." And so this is obviously during my lessons. I think making things levitate is a big part of her powers that obviously carries throughout the musical. So that's probably what's happening here. And I think Michelle Yeoh does suit the part. I mean, Michelle Yeoh is a formidable presence on screen, and you know the actress has used that to kind of carve a really like strong career. So I'm looking forward to seeing her. Again, I've never seen her sing, so it'll be interesting to see like kind of how that transpires.
And when it does,
This, I want to say this is probably when Glinda has to like face the fact that she's now roommates with Elphaba, and they're both like, this is probably just before what is this feeling, which I'm gonna like have so much joy. This is warming up to me. I'm warming up to this. Damn it. Damn it.
bad things happen.
So yeah, this again seems like that part that I was talking about, but this seems to move the conversation away from like everyone and like into a more private like venue, whereas before everyone kind of sees it happen. So it interesting kind of like trying like that translation of the difference there.
And when it does, bad things happen.
So that's a bit of a misdirection there because it seems like she's flinging her arm out to cast a spell, and then obviously we get like a smash cut with something being pushed out of a window, and we're meant to assume it's kind of a similar thing. But actually, this is her dancing awkwardly, where she's kind of like gesturing with hands and doing a really awkward dance before Glinda joins in. You can see some of the students in the background smirking. And then yeah, this isn't this isn't a somebody flying out a window. It's one of the monkeys flying out of the tower, which I'm not sure when that happened. I mean, again, this seems like identical shot to the first shot, which I speculate is after Elphaba fakes to death. So, not sure when this kind of. I'm just gonna wait to get confirmation that my streamer's caught up. We're getting a bunch of encoding lag for some reason. This is annoying. Uh-oh. I think we're about to lose the oh, yeah, I think we're about to lose something's about to crash. Am I still live? I just want to know if I'm still live. Not alive, live. Okay. I am still live. Even if this doesn't want me to think I am. I'll just keep this stream up here so I can check. Oh, okay, it's gone all weird again. I think I was saying this is either after they free the lion and he gets accidentally scratched during that process, or it's after he rescues her from when she gets captured during the second half. I think apart from the hat being being left on the floor, all of these shots so far are from the first act. So it's probably the lion, especially because they're wearing like the shirt, and I think in the musical when he rescues her, he's wearing his like captain's outfit. And in fact, it makes sense if the hat thing is in the first half as well, if they're doing it as a kind of, because the whole musical is we start it in media res with the witch being dead, and then everything else is supposed to be a flashback through Glinda recalling it. So it would make sense, I guess, for like that hat being left on the floor of the smoke to actually be the first thing we see, and then we cut to like the celebrations, and then Glinda does the flashback. I reckon that's how it's gonna go.
Your emotions.
Trying to work out what that bit's from. It might be from Dancing Through Life. I want to say it's from the wedding. In the song, Thank Goodness, but that's an Act 2 song. So either that's being brought forward to Act 1, or or it's like part of like the visions. I mean, she has a vision, so maybe she visions forward to that. Not sure about that one actually. This might be when they go to the Emerald City for the first time, just because the poppies in the background. There's very limited post them being friends interactions, I guess, from the musical to go by. It could be anything. It could be them in the gardens. But obviously, it's better to kind of emphasize that they're friends through parts of the musical.
Sky's the limit.
This might be after Defying Gravity. it just might be the section where she turns all the monkeys into flying spies for the wizard and regrets it. I guess it might be the Emerald City, like at dusk, just based on like the background. Is that Munchkin Land? It could be. This could be the Yellow Brick Road leading out there. Munchkins in Wicked are a bit weird because I don't think there's anything to insinuate explicitly that they're shorter people like they are depicted in the 1939 film. And in fact, nearly all the characters are Munchkins, I guess. Kinda, I don't know. Elphaba is the daughter of the mayor of the Munchkins. It's not clear if that means that he's a Munchkin or if he just rules over them. Nessa describes Bok as a Munchkin boy, sort of implying that maybe she isn't one, but also, I mean, it could legally still work if she is one. So I'm not sure how this film's going to tackle like are Munchkin small or big. I mean, no one that we've seen in the wide shots has a sizable Hobbit-esque size difference. So, although these here look slightly hobbity, so. And so here we see the actual train going to the Emerald City, which kind of implies that the train we see earlier is for that, but I just don't think they connect, but maybe I'm wrong. And I think this is almost certainly from One Shot Day. And she's wearing the same clothes that she wears in this photographic sequence, so this is clearly One Shot Day. I do appreciate the kind of background colouring where everything on the alphabet side is green, and everything on Glinda's side is a kind of a beige colour. Again, I will say probably from One Shot Day. Now this is interesting. It's a very brief shot, isn't it? Very brief shot. And the slippers are not ruby. They are silver. Who's making this film? Someone didn't get the rights to use it, which is interesting. Universal Pictures, and I think it's MCN who own a 1939 film. No, MCN, sorry, Metro, MGM. That's owned by Amazon. Ooh, well, someone didn't decide not to license out the rights to Ruby Slippers. That's interesting. Yeah, so Dorothy kind of does appear in Wicked, in that we see this part where she's watching Dorothy sobbing in the dungeon, and she shouts and tells her to just shut up. And then in the finale, the whole scene is done through like shadows, and we see an actress run on stage. I'm always curious to know how they do that. I wasn't sure if it's like them acting and there's lights projecting the silhouette, or if the projection is the silhouettes. I was never entirely sure. I kind of always wanted to know how that was done on a musical. But yeah, we see here a silhouette throwing the water over Elphaba and Elphaba pretending to melt. This is interesting. Are we going to see more of Dorothy in Wicked? It would certainly seem to make sense if they're making it bigger. And suddenly it overlaps. I mean, the second half kinda like, well, from the part where the last like third quarter of a musical covers the period that the 1929 and indeed the Wonderful Wizard of Oz book takes place in. So Dorothy is there. We just don't see her much for obvious reasons, but obviously if we're gonna have more time to explore things, then we could do. If I personally think it'd be hilarious if we only ever see her in shots like this, where it's like just her feet or just like a silhouette from a distance or something like that, rather than like anything more significant. But there's certainly no actress announced. I don't think there's been an actress announced as playing Dorothy. Also, interestingly, Dorothy doesn't appear until Act 2. So again, is this just a preview, or is this part of the in media res thing where we start off with this and we include seeing what is the ending of The Wizard of Oz before we go into the story? Hard to say. I mean, I imagine they're filming it as kind of one big block. We also see a bit of a scarecrow in the shot, and obviously spoiler that the scarecrow is Fiyero, which isn't a reveal that isn't made in the musical until right at the end. So again, interesting to see how they kind of deal with this. If they're in earlier, do we get a clear shot of who the scarecrow is? I kind of feel like if you're making this as a film for people who haven't necessarily seen the musical, hiding the face of the scarecrow would make it kind of obvious that it's meant to be something significant. And in the musical, you don't see, like, I mean, Bok being the damn it, the Tin Woodman is revealed straight away, and he's the one who appears prominently. The lion is kind of like a and then obviously the scarecrow's revealed at the end.
Bring to me.
Okay. I still think it's like Jeff Goldblum. Like, I'm not seeing the words. I'm seeing Jeff Goldblum be Jeff Goldblum. I mean, he does look very serious here, but he's not also having to speak. So we do get shots like this. Maybe this is like the only shot we get, and then we cut to what the wizard does, and that would be a way to get around it. You don't see anyone's faces. Obviously, you got a Tin Man there who is Bok. Lion, who's natural. This is a natural lion. It's interesting because obviously in the music in the 1939 film, he's implied to be anthropomorphic. I'm not sure if the original book makes him explicitly like a lion, you know, but whether. This obviously takes a lot of cues from the musical, where the face is like this giant clockwork invention, whereas in the 1939 film it's a projection, which I do appreciate. It kind of looks like Jeff Goldblum, but not entirely. And this is obviously part of Defying Gravity, where she casts a love spell on the broom. It's kind of weird in the musical. She doesn't really actually fly the broom. She kind of just holds it and flies around. And again, this is obviously part of Defying Gravity. Yeah, I think in the musical she casts a spell on the monkeys to make them fly, and it's not until she goes back that she's able to like release them all, I think, is what happens. So this is obviously when they're still in the kind of like Act 1 thing. Again, I'm not fond of the whole direct camera bit, but not sure where that's from. Maybe One Shot Day. Maybe Dancing Through Life. Oh, I mean, gosh, maybe even Popular.
Don't be afraid.
I want to say it's maybe again from the finale. I don't know. I just can't get Jeff Goldblum as a wizard settled in my head. And that's kind of that face where he's just like Jeff Goldblum surprised is not helping.
Don't be afraid.
I reckon this is from No One Mourns the Wicked, when she first appears before the flashback.
I'm not afraid.
And that this is almost certainly be from Defying Gravity.
It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
Should we watch it one more time just to kind of listen to the music in the background?
The best way to bring folks together
Something has changed within me.
is to give them a real good enemy.
You're green.
I am.
Something is not the same.
Something just takes over me. And when it does, bad things happen.
Once you learn to harness your emotions, the sky's the limit.
Bring her to me.
Don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid. It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
Yeah, the trailer very much chops up the music to kind of hard to get grasp of it. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up there because I'm feeling ill. My computer is being dodgy, so I'm gonna quit on my head. But damn it, this trailer's actually freaking sold me on the idea. Or maybe I just hyped myself up on the idea. One of the two has happened. I'm actually curious. What are the comments on this? Someone actually likes the silver slippers. What does this mean? Ugh. Wow. Okay. That's a thing that's happening. I mean, I think you'd have a very hard job of hiding that Wicked's a musical. Oh my god. Who's with this? Okay. Gosh, well, something's clearly happened in the last few months where it's just bots on comment section now. Dagnam, okay, well. Okay, that is working. Is this working? Yeah. Thanks for watching that. That was, I don't know what I've been streaming for. That's like an hour and 10 minutes for a minute long trailer. Clearly I care a lot about this, more than I thought. because I don't think I can expand any more on this. What do you think of this trailer? Let me know in the comments below, and I am gonna go to bed now. I think we're done. Okay. Yeah, we're done. Okay. Are we done? I don't know. I don't feel that tired. Should I play God of War? Anyway, this stream is over. And that's the main thing.